This is what we didn't think about before coming to Europe. What if your scooter can't handle the streets? Because Europe isn't paved like Disney.
So when we were planning this trip, there were several things that we were counting on. We assumed it would be walkable, and of course, if something's walkable just to us, it would be rollable. We figured that, especially with tourist places, things would just be. What we didn't think was the preservation of the historic street services. Instead, we focused on flights, we focused on hotels, we focused on tours, but we didn't focus on the pavement.
We never thought about it.
We never thought about it.
And I wish we had.
We planned for the airports, we planned for the hotels, but we didn't plan for the ground.
And when you're not planning, these are the things that you forget. Cobblestones aren't flat. The gaps between those stones, they matter
A lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
And the more narrow the wheels on your scooter or your wheelchair introduces more opportunity for those tiny little scooter wheels to get stuck. And they do. And they did. It's not just about comfort, it's about control. But the vibration,
And you had a lot of it.
I did. I had a lot of vibration. It builds a lot of fatigue. There's mental fatigue, there's physical fatigue. And by the end of our tours, after I had been on the scooter for a number of hours, I felt like somebody had been kicking me all day long. It changes how long you can stay out, how long you can enjoy things, and it just really says to you, I've got to make this decision whether I can stay out another 15 minutes or whether I need to go get back in the comfort of my hotel room and take some medicine, have a nap, whatever. But in the end, it was more than we expected. It wasn't impossible, but it also wasn't effortless.
The only time we truly got stuck was at the Tower of London. And the problem was I couldn't film it because I had to get the scooter unstuck. The tire went in between two cobbles and that was that.
I couldn't get it out. I couldn't get it out.
It would not roll out. It was just the joys of being in a different environment in cities that are old and were not built for little scooter wheels. It was rough.
And not only that, it was stuck and I had to get off. And because I can't lift anything or I can't pull anything, I relied on you to get me unstuck. And then I was just, at that point, I was exhausted. So you pulled it for a little bit around the Tower of London.
I had to fold the scooter up and pull it around through the worst of the cobblestones, just so that it wouldn't get stuck again.
Yeah, you were pulling across the cobbles and I was hobbling along behind you.
Exactly.
Because that's all I could do.
There are some things that help, though.
Yeah, watching the line of the stones and actually thinking ahead. That's the one thing that I found is that you spend so much time thinking ahead and looking, going, okay, those are paved. Those are not cobbles. That is a different surface. So let me get a way over to those. So we did that a lot, watching the line of the stones and trying to find better pavement or different pavement.
You weren't being Speedy Gonzalez there.
No, because you've got to keep it a slower speed because the slower speed helps to keep you more stable, especially when you're on these cobbles or when you're on wet cobbles, which we also experienced. You don't want to look at the places where there might be gaps. You can see the wheels on these scooters. They're tiny, or at least on mine. And again, we took the smoother side streets when they were available. Shorter outings, sometimes we had prescribed tours and we had already paid for these things and we paid a lot of money for them. So I wanted to make sure that we got every last thing that we could out of them. But there were a couple of them that I thought to myself, maybe we should just end this here and let me go back because this feels like a nightmare.
Enough.
Yeah, enough. It was enough. Took a couple of rest breaks. In Bruges, one of our rest breaks was to have a delicious Belgian waffle. In Copenhagen, we stopped and had coffee. And then when we were in Christiansand, which was one of our favorites, we stopped and you got fish and I had chips.
So part of it is knowing when enough is enough. And while you want to try to plan rest breaks, sometimes you can, especially when you're on tours.
Right,
But sometimes you just have to know when it's time to turn around.
right. Europe is possible, but it requires pacing and planning.
Yeah. Yeah. It certainly can be very frustrating. From my standpoint, just watching you, having to do all the caregiver things and not try to trip myself. These are rough surfaces in some of these places, but there are things that you felt also. There were concerns you had.
Yeah, it was frustrating because, again, when we were doing all this planning, and we planned this trip for well over a year, we bought the scooter for the specific purpose of going to Europe, but we never thought about how demanding it would be on me and on you with walking or rolling over cobblestones for hours and hours. And in certain times, like going through some of the cathedrals, it felt like I was slowing other people down because I have to look for different paths. And then there were some outdoor areas, especially in Bruges, where I worried that I was slowing people down. And then there was the day in Copenhagen where I almost crashed. It can certainly change, the rhythm of your day. And not only that, but it can change your mindset too when you're feeling, bad because you feel like you're impacting other people's days. And I always, worry about how I'm impacting your day by you having to do so much to help me. So there was a lot of the emotional part of it too. But it didn't stop the trip. It didn't ruin it. We still had a great time. It just changed how we moved through it.
Right. We had to plan better and know our limits.
And we've thought about, we've used some lessons. We learned a lot of lessons on that trip, and we've used those things as we have planned for other trips. We still saw Bruges. We still saw London. We still saw Copenhagen. We just did it differently. And we would absolutely take these lessons that we learned and apply them to future trips to Europe.
I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to Europe and you're bringing a scooter to Europe, cobblestones are real. They're not going away. And I would say in certain parts, nor should they. They are part of the history of the area. They're part of the beauty. They're part of the challenge also. But here's the thing. You can do it. Just don't be surprised by the ground. Just know that it's coming. But you can do it. So next time, we're going to talk about something else that we really didn't expect. But in the meantime, watch this video next and join us on our Facebook community. Come over, have a coffee.
Leave a comment.
Chill with the rest of us. Tell us about your experience when you traveled over rough surfaces.
Bye.
Bye.